Welcome back to the Saturday Service Podcast. Hope you're all having a great Saturday. I'm your host, Strummer Rouse, and every episode we sit down with a young entrepreneur who's carving out their own lane and building something special from the ground up. Today, we're joined by someone who's at the center of the intersection between tech, entertainment, and creator culture, the one and only Jack Schwartz.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
At just
dope.
20 years old, Jack is already the founder of MyPlots, an event ticketing platform built for college and young creators that has processed nearly $1 million in ticket sales and attracted close to 200,000 users since launching in just 2024. He's also a co-founder of the Two Man app, the viral double dating app that has grown to almost 40,000 downloads and pulling over 40 million monthly impressions, all with zero paid ads, just storytelling and consistency. On top of that, Jack has built massive personal brand with 1.6 million TikTok followers and 170,000 Snapchat subscribers, using content to fuel real communities, real products, and real growth. Today, we're diving into it all, how he got started, how he's building his companies while he's still in college, how he approaches his viral growth, and what he's learned creating products designed to bring people together in the real world.
Let's go,
What's
baby.
going on, my man?
How's it going, bro? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming, bro. How's your day going?
Chilling, bro. Just woke up. We're here now.
There we go. That's life.
It is life.
So before we get into all the business aspect of it, who was Jack growing up? Like, what was your household like? What was your upbringing like? Stuff like that.
Sure, yeah. So I was always, honestly, like a big entrepreneur at heart. I was hustling at a young age. I was doing lemonade stands as a kid, you know.
There you go.
I'd say what my household was like, I had two divorced parents. So I had my mom and my dad. My mom was always a really big hustler. She's an entrepreneur herself, and she's super successful. And she's, you know, she didn't graduate college. So that kind of showed me like, okay, well, you could kind of make it without going the traditional college route, you know. You work a corporate job after college, but no, she, you know, started her own agency and she's killing it. So really, yeah, growing up with that around me definitely gave me a ton of like influence and just a ton of like inspiration for, you know, just being an entrepreneur. So
That's
I think,
so sick.
yeah, I had a great life growing up and I'm super blessed.
What does your mom do?
She does like celebrity marketing. So she matches
Nice.
celebrities with brands. So, I mean, I'm kind of doing similar stuff, not the
Definitely.
exact same, but I'm working with celebrities, working with brands. So it's really cool to see, you know, her do it. Now it's kind of my turn.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And then what about your pops?
My dad, he does like more online marketing. He does like SEO and stuff. So search engine optimization. So
Okay.
like Google ads and stuff like that. Definitely, you know, he's grinding. He's been doing the same job for like 20 years or something.
That's dope.
But definitely, yeah, got the entrepreneur side from my mom's side. And then, yeah, I just have a great relationship with both of my parents, and I'm super blessed and happy about
Love
that.
to hear that. That's good to hear. And
Yeah.
then how would you say they influence like your mindset or your ambition?
Totally, yeah. I mean, I just think this is hard. I mean, but I think just my mom being, you know, she was grinding her whole life and just being able to like go out to meetings and meet new people. And I think just her raising me in LA, it's such a big city to like meet people
Huge.
and network. You got this person doing this person doing that. So really just, yeah, being around LA, I think that's really everything. And then I kind of saw how she did her work and I was just like, all right, well, if she's doing it and she's bringing in this money, I'm going to do the same. And yeah, I guess we're here today right now.
That's fire. What about, you have any siblings or?
Yeah, I have a little sister. She ice skates and stuff.
That's sick.
I say a little, but she's a bit older now. She's in high school, freshman year of high school now.
Let's go.
She's ice skating. You know, she plays a sport, super just like athletic. She's doing school, so she's on her own thing. She's killing it, doing like those double axles and all that.
There you go. Shout out sis.
Yeah, I think just the whole family, you know, big work ethic, and we're all just motivated to be successful.
And you guys have a close relationship?
Definitely, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Siblings, I don't know what I'd do without my sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then let's talk about education. So what was your education like before UCLA? Like, were you always
Totally.
business mindseted like you were saying, or did you want to play a sport in high school? Stuff like that.
Yeah, so I had a really, I guess, traditional high school experience, middle school experience. I went to elementary school where I met some of my best friends. We're still all like best friends till this day. We all met in elementary school. So going from elementary school to middle school to high school with those same friends, that was honestly everything. There's a group about like 15 of us. We still have a group chat. It's called like Blazes of Revenge. Super funny, you know. We're all sticking to the roots.
Of course.
But I think just growing up with a great friend group and going from school to school, that honestly has been everything. It's really about who you surround yourself with, and that's kind of the person you become. I'm a big believer in that.
100%.
Yeah, and then in like high school, yeah, I took one AP class, and like I got, you know, everyone's like, how'd you get into UCLA with one AP class? You know, like normally you got to take like 10 AP classes to get into such like, you know, a rare school to get into. And honestly, I think it was my essays, honestly, like being an entrepreneur, starting an app, you know, starting businesses. They love that. And I think, you know, if someone's trying to get into a good college, I really think, you know, doing those extracurriculars and starting a business, that's like the best thing you could do.
100%.
You got to separate yourself. You know, you can't be like everyone else and just do all these hard classes. You got to do something different.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
100%.
That's straight truth right there. When do you feel like your entrepreneurial spark hit? Or was there a person or a moment or an experience or what like lit that fire early on and you're like...
Totally. Yeah, no, I think in ninth grade for sure, because I went into high school and there were these older kids throwing all these parties. You know, they were throwing these parties through Instagram accounts and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, well, I kind of want to get in the mix. You know, I'm interested in this. They're charging for entry. Wait, like why you know, I want to get involved. This is pretty cool. Everything's all new. I'm a ninth grader in high school. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to just throw a few parties. I ended up doing it with my friend George at the time. We like did a party together. We each put up half the money. And I was like, I'm going to charge $10 at the door. And pretty much we did that. We brought 300 people out. We made $3,000 and we got the venue for like maybe $500 or something. And we were like, oh shit, this is real money. Like, what am I going to do with this money? This is my first time having real money. And then at the same time of, you know, I was throwing these little high school parties. And then I was like, I kind of want to get into clothing. I loved fashion. I got into clothing. I created a clothing brand with my best friend. And we launched our clothing brand. And, you know, when you start something, you realize like shortly after that it's very hard to market, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, I'm going to just start this clothing brand, drop all these clothes, and then my brand's going to blow up and I'm going to have millions of sales and all my friends are going to buy the products. That's like the complete opposite of how it goes when you launch something. And yeah, I feel like, yeah, just ninth grade was when, yeah, the entrepreneur spark hit for sure.
That's dope. And what's up with the clothing brand? You still have it or?
I did yeah, I mean, the clothing brand, it's always going to be around. The thing is, like, the more you grow a business, the more time it takes. So it's really like delegating your tasks. So
100%.
I could have, you know, my plots, my app, or I could have my clothing brand, but having both, it's a bit too time consuming. I gotta, you know, one thing I learned is putting my focus in the right places and not trying to juggle everything at once.
Yeah.
And that's definitely, yeah, something that I noticed. So it's like, I kind of got to make sacrifices and stuff like that.
Can't sprint in two different directions at once.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember the first, like, would you say the clothing brand was your first, like, big project?
Yeah, for sure. I would say, you know, the high school parties, those were kind of always just like a side thing for side cash. But I'd say like an actual, like building a brand, marketing a brand, that was definitely Lunar Clothing, my clothing brand at the time. I would say that honestly taught me a lot about social media. You know, I was waiting outside of these restaurants in Hollywood, like Boa Steakhouse, Saddle Ranch, and this was around 2020
TikTok
when all
days.
the TikTokers were like blowing up and like just, you know, they were just all going to these restaurants, Charlie D'Amelio, Post Malone, all these like just famous people. And I was waiting outside of these restaurants, giving them my clothing brand. And, you know, they saw I was a young ninth grader. They respected the hustle. And they were actually putting on my clothing brand when I gave it to them.
It's sick.
And I was able to capitalize on this because all these celebrities were wearing the clothing brand. And then all these paparazzi were taking photos of them with the clothing brand. And there's this guy named The Hollywood Fix, this guy Fletcher. He does this YouTube channel kind of just documenting all the videos with the famous celebrities, and he was getting my clothing brand in all the videos and stuff, and it was kind of blowing up on TikTok. I think we did like 20 million views with Charlie D'Amelio wearing it.
That's dope.
And that just kind of blew up our product, and we got, tens of thousands of dollars in revenue just off, these celebrities wearing our brand.
So like during this time, were you posting on social media, or was it just other people posting for you?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of both. I was definitely running my own like TikTok at the time and Instagram. And I posted one with like Bryce Hall or like another TikToker, and that got a few million views. And then like, these once we got it on Post Malone, it got on every Post Malone fan page on Instagram, and it was kind of just spreading like wildfire. It was crazy, because then it would just translate to like thousands of dollars in sales. And it all happened so quick, because like when a video goes viral, especially back then, it was so much easier to go viral. Going from like 0 views to like 1 million views was super easy at 100%. That time. So it was just like, it was just blowing up all over TikTok, I guess you could say.
And then when did you realize as a kid that you weren't just like you said earlier, like experimenting with house parties or the clothing brand? Like, when did you realize that you actually wanted to build companies?
I think in ninth grade. I mean, it's tough, because I was building all these companies, but then at the same time, I was like, working really hard in school to get into a good college and follow the traditional path and stuff like that. I think college is really important, but also you got to know also like, what are you going to do? Because I went into college not knowing like what I was going to really get out of it other than the network factor. So I think really asking yourself like, okay, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Instead of like, there's a lot of people that just follow other people. I mean, look at like Instagram, for example, or fashion. People follow what trendy stuff. So, I mean, I think just really asking yourself, like, why am I doing this? And I always had a passion for, like, building stuff and being creative. Like, in my garage, I would, like, paint my own pants and stuff. So I always had, like, just, like, a passion towards building stuff, creating stuff, being creative.
That's dope.
So that's definitely why, yeah.
That's dope. And then were you good in high school? Like, were you getting good grades?
Yeah, no, I got a 4.2 or something.
Oh, shit.
Or 4.1, something like that. Straight A's all of high school. I think my senior year of high school, I got like a B in calculus or something. That was a really hard class. But I was good up until then. I was always locked in though. Like, I'd party, here and there, but like I wasn't the kid like drinking and smoking. I was more the kid just like putting together the parties and like actually like making the stuff happen.
Yeah.
Our senior class, we did like a senior sunset, and I was like, it'd be dope if like it wasn't just like everyone going to the beach and sitting around and watching the sunset, but if we actually like rented speakers and we brought speakers to the beach. So with, at the time I got a generator from Home Depot. I brought, the generator to the beach. I brought a ton of speakers. And it was crazy. It was a whole dance party. The sunset was going down. So I think just always being that guy to like make stuff happen and step outside the box. That's for sure me. Yeah.
That's a good trait to have. That's a great trait to have. What would you say your percentage was, like 50% school, 50% work, or in high school? Yeah,
I'd say honestly, like just because I could do so much and just like not get tired of it. I could wake up every day and grind. I think like 75% school, 25% just business at the time. Now it's a bit more like 75% business, 25% school.
Yeah.
But at that time during high school, I mean, school is, pretty easy for me. It was easy stuff. It's just you got to put in the time, of course. Definitely. So that was definitely time consuming. And then I was just doing business stuff on the side. I liked the attention from throwing these parties. I liked the money factor. I liked being that kid, throwing the cool events and stuff.
Definitely.
So I think, just a mix of both for sure.
That's sick. So then let's hop right into my plots, like you were mentioning earlier. So give us a little background, a little origin story of what was the motivation and the gap or frustration that led to creating my plots.
Yeah, totally. So I was throwing parties my whole senior year of high school, and these weren't just normal parties. I was throwing them probably every month. And then May came around, and it was, my senior year, there's all these prom parties. And I was like, what if what if everyone threw like after prom parties? So like after the real school prom, we could go to these real big parties and throw crazy, have a good night. So I was putting together these after proms, and I was charging about $100 on average a ticket, and I did about 4 schools my senior year. I think I made like $100K in one night.
Holy cow.
All in ticket sales. And then like the venues were maybe like a few $1,000 each. So like really the margins were like crazy. Like I netted 90K or something. And then I was like, wow, this is crazy. But then at the same time, I asked myself, I'm like, why am I using Zelle? Why am I using Venmo? Why don't I do it all in one place through my platform and run it through a ticketing platform? So then I explored other platforms like Posh and all these Eventbrite, and I was like, nah, like this isn't me just to go like use another platform. I'm going to create my own platform. So at the time, I just started, building my plots. That's kind of led me to where we are today.
That's dope. And then throwing those prom parties, what were you using to get the word out and like get people to come?
Yeah, I think, I was using Instagram accounts my senior year. So I'd create an Instagram account. It would be called like February 16th Rager or February 16th Party or whatever. And then I would we'd put it on our Instagram stories, our Snapchat stories. We'd say like, everyone request this account if you want to come to our party. And then, we put it out on Instagram. We'd get, at the time, because these parties were so popular, there was such a high demand. This was something new. No one's done this yet. So we'd put it on our Instagram story. A few hours later, we'd have like 500 to 1,000 requests on the Instagram account. So I feel like the demand was so easy just because it was so new and popular. And then it would just convert to ticket sales. People would love to go to the events and stuff like that.
That's sick. So what would you say the first version or prototype of My Plots was like? Like, was it a early janky version, or did you figure it out right away and you kept it that way?
Totally, yeah. So the first version of My Plots was complete trash. I mean, this version was sourced from overseas. It took about a year to build. This was all
stage.
Yeah, this was all happening my senior year. Funny enough, my mom actually connected me with these developers, and the developers, the app sucked. There was this one guy that kind of watched over all the developers. He was great, but the actual app itself was completely trash. It was so buggy. It just wasn't sustainable. And if you want to, scale an app, it needs to be really functional and it has to work. So we scrapped that version. Funny enough, though, without that version, I wouldn't have met my developer now, because he actually DM'd me at the time, and he was like, yo, I can make My Plots way better than what it currently is. So we talked, we hopped on a phone call, and ever since, that's where we are today.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's fire. How'd you get My Plots to grow? Is it just, like, let's say I want to throw a party. Can I throw it through My Plots, or is it only your parties?
Yeah, totally. So anyone could use My Plots. It's completely free to use. So if you wanted to create an event, you just go on the app, sign up, and then you post your event. So that's the best part about it, is it's free. Anyone could sell tickets from wherever they are in the world. That's definitely, that's my favorite part about it. It's free for anyone.
Share the wealth.
Exactly. Yeah. And in that too, it's like infinitely scalable too. 'Cause it's like, all right, how long could I do high school parties for and do this $100,000 a night type of night? But no, it's like I could just create an event platform and have millions of people around the world using my platform, and then that just is infinitely scalable.
There you go. What was the process of getting people like college students and creators to trust your brand new ticketing platform that nobody's heard about? Like,
yeah, totally.
Was it just having your name behind it? You already have that trust, or did it take some time?
It took a while, definitely, to get My Plots to be the cool app and to gain the credibility that it has now, for sure. I think, really building good relationships with my initial original event host, that was like a key factor to building it to what it is today. We have a few of our top event hosts that still use us till today, to today. And, just keeping good relationships with them. It took a while to get My Plots to where it is today. The first 6 months, slow. I mean, it's not too slow, but it felt slow, compared to what it is now.
Yeah.
It was, we had maybe 5 to 10 events on it every weekend. This was just by us manually outreaching and mass DMing people. And we'd have a few events, but now, about a year later, we have hundreds of events on our platform. So I would say, it was a slow start for sure.
That's the process it takes, guys. You know, gotta start somewhere.
Seriously.
What was the moment that you realized, like, oh shit, this is working out. This might be big.
Definitely, yeah. Probably like 6 months ago, we just hit about 300,000 in revenue. And so for how that works is when you do, I'm saying 300,000 in revenue. So that's the amount of revenue that circulates through our event platform. So really, we take a 20% processing fee on that. So, whatever that number is, but we get 20% of the 300,000. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, 60,000 or something.
Yeah.
We get 20% of that. So going from hitting 300,000, that's definitely like when I realized, like, okay, this is going somewhere.
That's sick.
Yeah.
And then I have a question that I ask a lot of people on the podcast, and which is going to lead to my next question for you. Would you say that connections are priceless?
That's a great question, honestly. Yeah, I would say I would really say, yeah, connections are priceless. I really do think, building a good circle and being really like authentic and, just keeping it cool with people, 100%. Keeping everything super transparent is very important. Recently actually we've been trying to raise money and we've been shopping around for deals for my plots, for investors and stuff like that. And we've had some fake investors reach out trying to scam us and stuff like that. So really just having good people around you and those connections, I would say, yeah, there's no price you could really pay for that. It just kind of has to come natural.
How did that go down? Getting a fake investor. How'd you find out they were fake?
Yeah, I mean, it started with, a call. Of course, they want to jump on the phone, This was the one that happened. We've had this happen twice. This one happened about 3 or 4 months ago, and pretty much it was this guy. He claimed to be from Goldman Sachs, and he was trying to be this, super successful guy. He was in a Miami high-rise penthouse. We were on a Zoom call. We saw the whole background. We were like, all right, seems successful. He knows that he had a lot of knowledge about business. He definitely knew his stuff with scamming people. And then the second we knew is when he wouldn't let us ask him any questions about him. He kept asking us questions about ourselves. And every time we tried to ask him a question, he'd flip it right back on us. And then I knew, I was like, all right, this is kind of sus. An hour goes by, we were foolish at the time. This was the first time this happened. An hour went by, and then it was like, all right, he said, you're going to pay me $10,000, and I'm going to connect you to 10 billionaires. The second we knew, I hung up that phone, and I was like, fuck that.
Wasted an hour.
Yeah, a few of my partners stayed on the phone, and, they heard him out or whatever. But I hung up. I was out of there. I was offended, man.
Hey,
I was salty for sure.
Got to learn from the mistakes.
100%.
It's probably a good thing in a way, so that you have the experience of it.
Definitely.
And then one of your pretty viral things that's been going on recently, I saw on your Instagram, you did a collaboration with Playboy Cardi.
That was crazy.
That's so sick, bro. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Tell us about how that came to be.
Totally, yeah. So at the time, to start off, Playboy Cardi's my favorite artist, favorite rapper. I've seen him live probably over 10 times. So like when the opportunity came, I took it so quick and there was no time wasted when I had that opportunity.
Asked.
Yeah. So at the time I was doing, he's on his Antagonist tour right now. He's doing a stadium tour around the nation. And at the time I had his producer Wake Up Filthy booked for like an after hours DJ set after the LA show for his Playboy Cardi's tour. And at the time, that was selling great. And then Cardi, I was like, wait, what if I brought on Cardi? Like, how much would this cost? And it was a lot of money, a lot of fucking money. And I'm not going to disclose how much, but a 6-figure number. And pretty much I had the opportunity to do it. My Plots was doing really well at the time. It's going up in the bank account, more and more event hosts, so it's like, we got to jump on this opportunity. This
Definitely.
is once in a lifetime. And we took it and we booked him. We put half down up front. And then after that, we paid him the rest in cash, which was the craziest part.
That's sick.
So paying him, it was a lot of cash. It was surreal. And he performed at Zouk LA. We, every club, when we said we had Playboy Cardi, every club in LA hit us up. They were like, do it at our club, do it at our club. And we were like, no, we want to do it at Zouk. Like, this is the new spot. They got Zouk Las Vegas, now Zouk LA. We're doing it here. So it was surreal. Big success.
Dream come true.
Yeah, and he brought out, his whole crew, Ken Carson, Fake Mink, all of them.
That's dope.
Hell yeah.
What would you say the most difficult part about that was?
I would say the venue switch. That was the most difficult part.
Oh, shit. Tell us about that.
When we booked Playboy Cardi. So originally, we had his producer Wake Up Filthy, and we were doing it at this venue in downtown called Level 8. And we did this venue strategically because this venue is a 2-minute walk from the crypto arena. And that's exactly where Playboy Cardi was performing that night. So the goal was to get all the fans from after Playboy Cardi's show to go straight to the after party. And, it just got the venue. Thing about Level 8 is it's all on the 8th level, and it's eight different rooms. So we were like, all right, if we have 1,000 people coming, how are they all going to be able to watch Playboy Cardi from one room? Yeah. And we didn't want to sell $100 tickets and then have some people in other rooms that can't see Playboy Cardi. Like, that's fucked up. So we were like, all right, we got to switch it. Literally 5 hours before the event, I was on my phone that whole day of just calling venues, like seeing how much, because at the end of the day, we had a great deal with Level 8. They were going to give us a substantial amount from the bar. So to shop around these other venues, we want 20, we want 30% of the bar. We ended up doing like 20% of the bar at Zook, and it was a lot of negotiating, and we got it down to that.
That's dope.
But yeah, the venue switch was crazy.
That's so sick.
It was crazy.
Have you worked with anyone else like with a pretty big name?
Nothing as big as Playboy Cardi, but I've done some smaller underground artists. I did this guy Autumn's whole tour. This was probably about a year ago. And then I did DC the Dawn's LA show.
That's dope.
We marketed it as My Plots Fest. We had like DC the Dawn, like Josiah, all those like underground names on it. But nothing near, Playboy Cardi. And now it's just like I'm in talks right now with Gunna's team. Like, he's doing his tour.
That's huge.
This guy SD the Kid, he's blowing up right now.
He's going crazy.
We're trying to do his LA after party. So we're always just like, now after the Cardi event, we did Cardi in LA and New York. So it's
shit.
We did the New York one too.
He fucked with y'all so much. He's like, let's run it back.
He said, let's run it back.
That's fire.
So now we're just, grinding. We're grinding.
How was the New York after party?
The New York one was just as crazy, honestly.
Which one would you say is better, though?
I'd say the LA one for sure, because I think just the My Plots branding at the LA one was way better. We had our big logo on the screen behind Cardi. So then, all the videos of Cardi, on my Instagram and stuff as well, you just see the big My Plots logo. So it's like, all right, it's not just Zook booked Playboy Cardi, it's My Plots booked Playboy Cardi,
That's so
Make
dope.
sure people get it,
Yeah, Cardi's pretty up there. Like, that's sick, bro. Congrats.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So with that being said, Jack, how much current users would you say you have?
Yeah, so we just hit 500,000 users.
Holy.
And literally 2 months ago, we jumped from 200,000 users to 500,000 users.
Would you say that's mainly because of Cardi?
I'd say Cardi is about 66% of it. Why I say 66? Well, we did Cardi in LA. That was 33%. We did Cardi in New York. That was the other 33%. And then I'd also say just Halloween being around with the stage our platform is in. Like, we had hundreds of events on our platform for Halloween. And one of our top event hosts, 310 Events, they actually got on the news. They got on KTLA 5 because their party was so big.
I think I saw that.
It was like Capri's Project X party. That was all through My Plots.
That's sick, bro.
And it was insane because it was like 3,000 or 4,000 people in a backyard. And, we were a little worried, like posting, all the videos of it, kind of promoting like, oh, this was our platform. But at the same time, all the comments were like, I respect the Gen Z. This is so dope. Like, life is saved. Like,
sure.
Gen Z is back. All this stuff. It was dope. So I'd say, that was the final 1/3 of it. And that kind of gave us the momentum we needed.
When you're having these big events hosted through My Plots, are you there majority of the time? Or
no, definitely not. I'm at like 1% of them, and both of those, that 1% being like the Cardi LA show and the Cardi New York show. I had to be there because it's my favorite artist. But like all these events that are constantly happening every day, if not on our platform, I'm not at any of them. And I wish I could, see them all live.
Yeah.
But we want to add a feature where like people could go live at the event and like view it through the My Plots app.
See if it's
if someone's going to drive, take an Uber all the way to an event, they want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's something we're thinking about.
That's pretty smart. That would go crazy.
That would go crazy.
So let's get into numbers a little bit. Yeah. Because a lot of people like to hear about the numbers.
Of course.
Give us a ballpark of your revenue from releasing your app in 2024 to now.
Yeah, so I guess the website version went live like in like October 2024. So that was kind of like our pre-stage. App wasn't out yet. So definitely, slow build. We were processing maybe $10,000 in tickets a month or so.
Yeah.
And then when January came, that's when our app came out. And from January all the way to, I'd say, today, December 1st, we've done 1.6 million in revenue.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And that's not, obviously, that's how much money we've processed through our platform. So we take a 20% processing fee on top of every ticket. So roughly about 20% of 1.6 million is kind of what, we've profited so far as an event platform.
That's huge, bro.
And it's dope because it's like we got our business bank account and we get to reinvest all that money into like booking cool artists like Playboy Cardi, maybe SD Kid, like stuff like that. So it's not like it's all going in like one of our pockets. We're actually, building this business and scaling it upwards. So
got to spend money to make money.
100%.
Definitely. So Antonio just asked a great question. Do you see yourself as a trailblazer in the live event as Gen Z?
Definitely. I see myself, being in the event scene for a while and definitely influencing, the Gen Z audience. I think it's really cool because like COVID hit. There were no events, obviously. Everyone was indoors.
Yeah.
And then right after COVID, it's like, nah, we got to, like, come back. Like, I feel like, everything was going downhill a bit after COVID. And
100%.
just people weren't partying the same as they were in, like, prior to COVID, 2019, 2018. Everyone's so nervous. So it's like, I think, definitely curating cool events and live experiences. I want to do, like, a big My Plots Fest, some sort of festival. I have a few ideas for it, but I want to mix, in a big EDM act, let's say John Summit, and then like a big rapper, let's say Lil Uzi Vert.
Yeah.
Kind of put them together and do like a festival all the way from UC San Diego and go all the way up north, UC Berkeley. Do like a cool college tour with these artists.
That'd be dope.
I think it would be crazy because I think, a lot of these big events and tours and, festivals, they're all kind of by like Live Nation, Ticketmaster. That's like the monopoly right now. So really like breaking out of the traditional route and doing these stadium tours to doing like cool like college tours and stuff like that.
Definitely.
I think that's kind of where the future is. And, we're trying to raise some money for a big festival right now. And
that's dope.
I definitely see it happening.
Hey, I have my prayers to that. Like, I hope that goes well.
Hell yeah.
And then you also created or co-created another app.
The two-man app.
The two-man app.
Yes, sir.
The viral dating concept app.
Yeah.
Tell us your backstory on the two-man app and why you decided to create it.
Totally, yeah. So my developer for My Plots is actually my same partner on the two-man app. So I brought in my developer, Clark, on the My Plots app. He built out the whole thing from scratch. And in return, I think he had this other concept, the two-man app. Why isn't there an app for going on two-mans? And if you don't know what a two-man is, it's a double date, but, some will call it a double date. Others will just say two guys and two girls like going out and hooking up or whatever. But we kind of market it as the double dating app. And in return, I brought Clark in on My Plots, and then I think he was like, all right, Jack's killing it with My Plots. Why don't I bring him in on the two-man app? So Clark brought me in as the COO on the two-man app. And, we've been killing it. We've been posting viral videos pretty much every day on Instagram.
I've definitely seen some.
Yeah. That's been our main platform, and 40 million monthly profile views and stuff like that. Just blowing up two-man content all over Instagram has been the key.
Sick. Would you say social media is your main marketing scheme?
Yeah, 100%. I think if you understand how to market social media, grow a personal brand, go viral, then you could really grow any business. Because I think the future of marketing businesses isn't like billboards. I think it's all in social media. I mean, all these big companies are paying thousands of dollars for these meta ads, these Instagram story ads. So I really think like the new billboard is just on your phone,
Definitely. Everybody's on their phone 24/7.
100%.
So you grew the two-man app almost entirely through content. What was the formula to get that content to spread so fast or go viral? Just some game for the people if they're trying to grow their own stuff.
Totally. I think, asking yourself at the end of the day, like, would I want to watch this? Or do I think this is funny? Really just asking yourself before you're putting content out, like, are people going to be entertained by this? Am I going to enjoy this? So I think, yeah, putting that into mind, like, is this actually quality content? And then if the answer is yes, then yeah, you just do that and you try a bunch of different things, different video formats. I think understanding, what goes viral, studying other viral videos you see on your phone by scrolling, and then you kind of just copy and paste, but you kind of put your own spin on it. And then I think, just social media is a huge factor. And if you understand that, you could definitely, build a business.
Do you integrate AI with your social media at all?
I've tried to, for sure. Definitely not as much with the social media stuff, but I'll definitely use AI for writing, funny captions and stuff like that. Like those videos like POV, you booked Playboy Cardi, and you spent your whole marketing budget or stuff like that, So I think definitely using AI to come up with like funny, cool ways to say stuff. But as far as like videos, I don't think AI is fully there yet. You got pretty cool stuff. I mean, but definitely for like the stuff I'm trying to do, I'm not using AI videos.
Yeah.
Not yet.
No, definitely. It's taking over. As scary as it is.
It is.
What's something about building a dating app that people don't realize until they're like down bad in the trenches?
Yeah, I think, it's funny because like the amount of people that download the dating app compared to like, let's just say the MyPlots app, we'll have more users on the MyPlots app and stuff like that. But for people actually like spending time on the actual app, like people spend hours on there. Like it's crazy because we'll put out an app and, we're able to see all the back end analytics and stuff, like how much time is spent on each screen and stuff like that. People will spend hours just swiping on those dating apps.
It's like swipe left if you like it, swipe right, no, stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like people will spend just hours on the app and reoccurring users and stuff like that. Compared to like MyPlots, a ticketing platform, you're really only using it to buy a quick ticket and then attend the event. You're not really using it for more, so it's like a 5-minute process for that. Yeah. But for like the 2-man app, people will spend hours on the app every single day.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. Do you use the website LinkedIn a lot?
I'd say here and there for sure. I've been growing my LinkedIn presence just to build more connections and stuff like that. We launched a summer internship for MyPlots over the summer, and people want college credit, so we had a ton of people working for MyPlots over the summer. They were outreaching, onboarding new event hosts and stuff like that, and we ran like ads on LinkedIn to advertise that and stuff. So I'd say LinkedIn's a great tool for sure.
That's dope. You heard it from the man. Start a LinkedIn. Let's talk about going viral and building your personal brand. So you've built massive following, 1.6 on TikTok, 170,000 on Snapchat, whatever the crazy number is. Did you ever expect your content to blow up as crazy as it did?
Definitely not at the beginning, no. But so the whole 1.6 million followers on TikTok, the funny thing is this was all when I was like 15, 16 years old. So during COVID, I was doing these interviews, these how much does your fit cost interviews. And I was interviewing like tons of celebrities, asking them how much their outfit costs. Just a bunch of TikTokers like Noah Beck, all them. I'm trying to think if I got anyone that cool. No one really that crazy. I did Destroy Lonely. He's like cool artist. This was during his No Stylist era. I was doing like fit checks, and I'd post a video and it'd get like 100K views. Next video, 1 million views. And this was all during like COVID, right after COVID. It was so much easier to go viral on the internet, at least on TikTok. And then going viral on TikTok, I built a big following, and I actually signed a deal with Snapchat. So I was working for Snapchat for like 2 years with their Spotlight program. They're paying me good. I think I racked in like $300,000 and like at 17 years old through Snapchat.
That's dope.
And I was like, wait, how do taxes work? I was like, fuck.
Still figuring it out.
Yeah. So it was a dope time for sure.
That's so cool, bro. What's one mistake you see young creators make when they're trying to build a brand or go viral or start something new?
I think just not delegating their time enough. So really just trying to do everything. Obviously, you save a lot more money doing everything, but if you have a team to help you balance your tasks, let's say like, some people are better at talking on the phone with me with closing clients. So like obviously knowing that I'm not going to take all the business calls. I'm going to be like, all right, I'm going to give up a bit of percentage in the business deal for whatever deal it is and just let my boy do it who's much better at it than me. So really like delegating tasks to what you're good at, to what they're good at. That's definitely like the number one thing you could do, you know. Yeah, you save money trying to do everything yourself, but at the end of the day, you get less done. So really just putting your focus in certain spaces and then having other people do, you know, help you out and stuff.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And then as we're wrapping up, tell us what it's like balancing college with running companies. Like, you're still in UCLA, correct?
Yeah, I'm a third year at UCLA. Honestly, yeah, it's definitely challenging for sure, but the way college is structured and UCLA is structured is it's on a 3-quarter basis. So really it's 3 quarters, 10 weeks each. I have classes twice a week. So, you know, you get to build your schedule. You get to choose to live on campus or not. What I chose is I'd take 2 classes or 2 days of classes a week. So I stack all my classes on 2 days, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then, so I'm really at the campus 2 days a week. My first year of college, I joined a frat, was doing that whole thing. And I was just like, all right, it's dope. You know, I go back my sophomore year. It's like the same thing on repeat. So I was like, all right, I don't know if I should spend all my time playing poker and drinking and just partying and stuff. Yeah. You know, I've built all the connections already. I don't know if this is for me. So it's like now I'm not really on campus as much. I go for my classes, go for my exams. That's about it. And then the rest of it, I'm doing business and just living my personal life, traveling.
Best way to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said earlier in the beginning of the episode, you said that you don't really get burnt out. Like you can always be doing something. How do you manage your time without getting burnt out or getting exhausted?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a great question. But I think like traveling and stuff, because the cool thing about my job is running an event platform, being an entrepreneur, I'm able to travel and really get my work done anywhere. So I'll be in Mammoth skiing for like 2 to 3 days, maybe longer. I'll be in Miami, I'll be in New York. So it's like being able to like just travel and get work done at the same time is honestly everything. And I have my crew of people that are always on calls, closing event hosts for getting new, you know, when I say closing event hosts, I mean bringing new event hosts to the MyPlots app. That's obviously how the platform runs, by people hosting events. So probably even right now, there's people on phone calls closing clients right now for MyPlots. So really just, delegating your tasks. That's how I don't get burnt out. And then also just throwing cool events and like switching it up, you know, doing different stuff. That's like everything.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Switch up the scenery. You know, it takes a village, guys. It takes a village.
Exactly.
What's your most honest opinion on school? Like, do you think it's necessary for entrepreneurs or more of a safety net or a waste of time or the best thing you've ever done? Yeah,
I think definitely from, you know, 1st grade to 12th grade, so all the way through high school, I think school is extremely important. Once you get that high school, the high school diploma, you graduate high school, it's like, all right, this is real life now. I'm 18, I'm an adult. Now it's really up to me what I want to do. So I don't think college is for everyone, for sure, especially not entrepreneurs. If you're an entrepreneur and you have a really good work ethic, then I don't think college is needed. Yeah. But if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have the best work ethic, you have a hard time finishing tasks and getting the job done, then maybe you need college for that extra, you know, safety net. But if you could believe in yourself and you know you could do it, then you really don't need college. And especially like out-of-state college, if you're going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars, you better figure out why you're paying that, you know?
Yeah.
You got to know why you're paying it. Am I going to work? You know, at the end of the day, a lot of people get out of college after the 4 years that aren't becoming lawyers or doctors, and they're like, all right, what am I going to do now? They're like, there's a big, you know, the job market's crazy. Do I want to make only $100,000 a year in my future, or do I want to make more? So really just knowing, you got to ask yourself, like, what am I doing here? And really understanding what you want, and not just following other people and what your parents say and grandparents say.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
That's good advice. What would you say your biggest personal challenge you're facing right now is, and what are you doing to solve it on the, you know, if it's an emotional note, if it's trying to continue growing the brand, like what would you say it is?
Yeah, I think just keeping up all the momentum, that's definitely, it could be exhausting because right now I'm on this phase where it's like I did these 2 Cardi events. We have a ton of traction, 500,000 users, but keeping it up because like October is really big for my plots. It was all the Halloween events. So really keeping up all this traction and momentum. And right now I'm kind of on this like social media phase right now where I'm like trying to, get the word out all over social media, doing podcasts, interviews, Instagram reels all day. Definitely. So really just, doing like content and stuff, that's definitely exhausting for sure. Some days I wake up, I'm like, oh, do I want to post an Instagram reel? But I've been able to learn what it takes to go viral, and now it's just consistency. So staying consistent will always be the hardest thing, but it's the best thing at the same time.
Hey, that's all it is.
That's all it is, bro.
Trial and error, figuring it out step by step. Like, it's the reality of it.
100%, definitely.
Antonio had another good question. Tell us some people that are a part of your team, what their role is, stuff like that.
Yeah, so the MyPlots team is very small right now. It's me, my developer, who owns a big stake of MyPlots as well. I mean, he's built everything it is today on the tech side. And then I have my buddy Zane, he's great at marketing. He's great at social media. He's great at just throwing events. So he's a partner in MyPlots as well. And then, I have some friends that just help out on a percentage basis per events. My buddy Luke and Jeremy, Jagger, stuff like that. So the team's really like the core team is like 3 of us. And then there's probably like 5 or 6 or maybe even 7 or 8 that are just always just helping out here and there for like a percentage and stuff like that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's good to have. That's back to connections. You got to have those people helping you out.
Definitely.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode of the Saturday Service Podcast. Huge shout out to my mans, Jack Schwartz, for pulling back the curtain on what it really looks like to build 2 viral apps, process millions of dollars in ticket sales, and grow a personal brand that reaches tens of millions every single month, all while staying in the grind through college life at UCLA. If Jack's journey gave you something today, a spark of motivation, a new perspective on what's possible, or even just a push to finally start that idea you've been sitting on, share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow, give us a little rating down below, subscribe so you never miss another story from a young entrepreneur building the future in real time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for spending your Saturday with us, and I'll catch you next week, same time, same service. Jack, drop your socials.
Yeah, Jack Schwartz on Instagram.
Jack Schwartz on Instagram, MyPlots app, 2-man app, everything. Go download. Boom, boom, boom for the next big event.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Sir.